A lot of business owners feel frustrated or disconnected or just tired of their business, and they assume the problem is that they are just burnt out of the business. They've lost the passion for the business, but I don't think that's what usually happens. I think that somewhere along the way, the builder became the maintainer. In the beginning, you had no choice but to build because you're at ground level. There's nothing to follow. You're creating the systems, creating the offer, finding the opportunities, finding the customers, improving your service, solving new problems. And then it started working. And once it started working, your job slowly changed from building the next version of the business to protecting the current version of the business. Customers needed answers, employees needed direction, bills had to get paid, fires had to get put out. And then before you knew it, you were spending all of your time keeping the machine alive and almost none of your time making it better. That's what I want to talk about in this video. How builders become maintainers, why entrepreneurs lose the role that made them entrepreneurs in the first place, being a builder, and how to get it back. Most owners don't realize when they stop building. It kind of sneaks up on them. You realize way too far into it. At the beginning, every entrepreneur is a builder. When you start a business from the ground up, you have no choice really but to build. There's nothing there. There's just the demand in the market, and you need to build the solution that people actually buy, right? So nothing exists yet. You're building. You're building from the ground up. You create the offer. You find the customers. You sell the work. You sell the product. And you figure it out as you go. Things break, you fix it, you build it, you break stuff down, you rebuild it, you realize you built something wrong or not as efficiently as it could be, you optimize and rebuild it. So in the beginning, you question everything. You're looking into, how do I get customers? How do I make this better? How do I make the best offer? How do I beat the competition? How much should I charge? How much is this worth? How big of a problem am I solving for people? What's the fastest way to prove this works? How do I get to the MVP, minimal viable product, to start the business, to make sure that there's a demand for it? How do I build the next version of it? What do I need to build next? All these questions. How do I hire? How do I deal with customer issues? How do I optimize these systems? You just keep building. It's early energy. It's the whole entrepreneurial energy, is you just build, 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 optimize, build, optimize, build. And it's a beautiful thing. That's why most of us love it. It's the true spirit of entrepreneurship, building. And then the business starts working. You start seeing success, things start working, clients start coming back, clients start referring you out to other clients. And this is when the role slowly begins to change very quietly. The business starts asking for protection instead of creation. Now you have assets that are growing in the business. If you don't even own, say, physical assets, you have goodwill, you have clients that need to be taken care of, customers need answers, service, follow-up, they have expectations, they have complaints, daily communication with different clients. And some clients, as we all know, require more than others. And so then you're trying to keep track of different clients, everything that comes with that. And then operations, they need attention. You need scheduling for your employees, fulfillment of whatever product or service it is that you're providing, quality control, making sure that you keep a good reputation, buying tools, maintaining tools, setting up processes, setting up your standard operating procedures, and really just dealing with people. People need attention. Your employees need attention. Your customers need attention. And, the more you grow, the more people you have working with you or for you, the more customers you have, and just the more things you have to manage that aren't necessarily building, but it's very necessary. And then you have cash flow, right? You have money coming in. That needs stability. You have bills, payroll, expenses. You have vendors, third-party vendors, taxes, collections, say if you have payment terms to suppliers, things like that. Everything that's very required to keep the machine alive, you need to protect and you need to maintain it, or else the business, just you're building into nothing. So it's very logical that we would go down this route. And maintenance feels responsible. And it is. Like I was saying, it's something that's very necessary to the business. You need to build, solidify that foundation to build higher. If you build on just purely unstable foundation, the whole thing's going to come crashing down as it gets bigger. So it's a trap, but it's a necessary trap. You just need to know how to work your way through it, right? But if all you do is maintain, the business eventually stops evolving. Your competition will catch up to you. Somebody that can see the full picture will evolve past you. They'll take your clients. They'll take your business. They'll take everything from you. And you'll just feel it internally. You'll feel you feel like you're missing something. You don't lose ambition, you just lose perspective as you get further into this as a maintainer. You start off with this big vision, you're building, you're in growth mode, and then it starts getting more complex and you have all these bigger things happening, bigger problems, bigger checks coming in, which, we're all happy about. And you're building all of these things, and eventually you get into this tunnel vision because you have so many things going on at one time as the owner. Everybody comes to you with their problems. Even if you hire management, at a certain point, you're the final say. So eventually you get this tunnel vision because you're so far into the business that you can't really see that you've lost the builder role. You've lost the essence of what made you an entrepreneur in the first place. You've lost what you love. And when you hear me saying this, you're probably saying, no, well, my business is different because I have to work towards this over the next 12 months in order to reach this next level, or my business can't be optimized in these certain ways because that's just not how I work. And you say, oh, but my business looks fine. Externally, it looks fine. Revenue exists, the customers are happy, they're served, the work's getting done, the machine keeps moving, right? But internally, you just start to feel more and more drained. The business just feels heavier. It's a lot less exciting than it was in the growth phase. You're confused because you're making more money, but you're just more and more tired of doing it. You're more and more tired of owning the business. You're having to become more reactive than proactive. You're less connected to the original vision that you had. You're starting to kind of become complacent with where the business is going and kind of letting the business guide you on where to go. Example, you may have fallen into the maintainer role if you spend most of your time reacting instead of improving. We never want to be playing defense 24/7. There comes a time and there's a place for it, but we don't want to be doing that 24/7. It's very annoying. You're busy every day, but the business is not meaningfully changing. That's a quick way to burn out. If you are busy every day and nothing's really happening, it's like going to the gym and sitting in the gym and saying, I went to the gym, but you didn't do anything, so you get no progress. Problems repeat so often that they start to feel normal. You start to say, oh, well, this is just my business. This is just how it works. This is just my life. You have ideas, but they stay in your head for months. I don't have time to execute. I gotta wait till these things line up. I gotta wait for the right time in order to execute these new ideas. Oh, if I can just get around to it, if I can just get the right revenue, then I can execute on this new stage of the business. But you've been saying that for months. Is it really about the revenue or whatever goal it is that you're saying it is? And be very honest with yourself. Or you feel tired of the business, but you still care about it. You used to love this thing. And now you just have a hard time running the business. You care about it, but you're just tired. The maintainer protects the business you have, but the builder creates the business it could become. Two modes, like I've been saying this whole video. There's the maintainer mode, and there's builder and optimizer mode. Maintainer mode, you just keep it running. You just consistency, you handle the fires, you're kind of playing defense. You preserve the current machine. You hold that foundation steady and keep it from breaking. So make sure it keeps working. Make sure it keeps bringing in the revenue. In builder optimizer mode, you're making it better. You're breaking stuff down on purpose and rebuilding it. You're analyzing the business that's already there, and you're saying, how can we make this better? How can I maybe take one step back to take 5 steps forward? A lot of people are scared to take that 1 or 2 steps back to take 5 forward, so they just stay in place. You got to question assumptions. You expose the bottlenecks in the business. You redesign systems that 1 step back to take 5 steps forward. Sometimes it feels like you're just destroying what's working, right? They say don't break it if it works. Shit, to build, sometimes you got to break ground. You increase the capacity of the business. You increase the capacity that you have to work. Maybe it's having less hours invested in the business so that you can have more hours to invest to work on the business rather than in the business. And really all of this is just making it better to unlock the next stage of business, unlock the next stage of yourself, unlock the next stage for everybody that works for you, everybody that relies on you. You need to be a builder in order to reach these next levels. You don't go anywhere just by keeping it running, staying at the same place. Now, most entrepreneurs fall into this trap of the builder builder optimizer down to the maintainer, including me. I've done it, we've all done it. You have to do it. But you don't want to fall so far into the trap to where you don't see the way out. Now, if you're seeing this video, obviously now you're somewhat aware, or you were somewhat aware when you found this video, that something's off. This is it. It's easy to become so focused on keeping something alive that you stop creating the next version of it. It's, in an indirect way, it's being scared. You're scared of what if the next leg fails and it brings down the whole business. I would much rather fail than just not try or give up. My biggest fear is not trying or giving up. Now, the path back. How do we get out of this? Now that you're aware of it, how do we get out of that maintainer role without destroying the business and get back into the builder mode, back into who you really are as an entrepreneur? Who is it that built this company? Who got it to where it's at, and who's going to take it to where it's going to go? Getting back into builder mode starts with seeing clearly again. Take a step out, a clear space away from the daily fires. Now, a step out doesn't mean just give up on the business or just leave it alone to die. It just means get out of your own head. Stop thinking about everything so close up and get out of that tunnel vision. Maybe take a couple days, go on a hike, go on a walk, whatever you can do. Just take a second. I promise the business will be okay if you step away for 1 second and just take a look at everything brutally honestly. A lot of times it's most optimal to get somebody from an outside perspective to help you. That's why business advisors and friends and all of that are so helpful. But you need to take a look honestly, identify what's become normal but shouldn't be. Step into your old mental and just look at yourself, and how would you criticize yourself? How would you criticize your business? How would you criticize the way that you've become? And find the leverage points in there, the bottlenecks. Separate the noise, the 80% that's getting you the 20% of result, and find the leverage. What's that 20% that's getting you the 80% of the results, and do more of that. It's going to feel like you're taking steps back when you get rid of this 80% that's giving you just 20% of the results, because it's still giving you results, but that's not the highest leverage things. And when you find that out, you take a step back, laser, go in, build again, tear it down, build again. And now there's a lot of ways this can happen. It can happen with the skill set that you're working on in terms of the way that you do your service delivery, or it can happen with the business side of the skills in terms of how you have your business structured, how you have your taxes going, all these different things that go into a business. You don't always need more effort in the business. I really don't like generic business advice because they come at you and say, oh, you need to scale your systems. You need to do X, Y, and Z and do this proven system. And yes, you might grow, but sometimes it's not in the correct way that's for you as a unique individual with your unique business. So it's not always that you need more effort. Sometimes you just need a more clear view of where the effort should be put. I forget what law it's considered, but it's basically 80% of the work you do gives you 20% of the results, and 20% of the work you do gets you 80% of the results. Logically, we want to focus and do more of that 20% to get more of that 80% of the results. And I mean, burn the rest. Who cares? Just do more of that. Your results are going to compound like crazy. Here's a big thing to keep in mind and that I have to remind myself about sometimes. And this will help you kind of step back and really think about the business and what it is that you want out of it, is that the business was never the final destination. Most people, including myself, we're not building a business to be like, this is the end all be all. You're going to exit a business one way or another, whether you like it or not. We say toes up, toes down, dead or alive. Some way you're going to exit the business someday. Every business dies. So the business was never the final destination. It was the vehicle for life. You built it for the life, for the freedom, for the security, to take care of your family, and for the future that you wanted to build, to have control over what it is that's going to come in the future. Because as a builder, you have control of what that becomes. But if you stay in that maintainer role, you no longer have control, you're just reacting. But as a builder, you have control, you have the blueprint, you have the vision, and you're executing on that vision. So ask yourself, where are you maintaining instead of building? What problems have you learned to tolerate? What idea have you delayed for months? Not with excuses, but what idea have you been delaying for months? What execution have you not done or just lied to yourself that you're doing
talking to ChatGPT about, or building a website. That you do stuff that goes to market. Don't do all of the busy work behind the scenes saying that you're moving forward when really you're just kind of doing busy work that doesn't really move the needle forward. Okay? Well, I'm not saying a website is not important, but do you really need it to start that next leg? Where are you maintaining instead of building? You need to ask yourself this. What problems have you learned to tolerate? What problems have you become blind to that you're tolerating and don't even notice it and you just consider it part of the business? Or what ideas have you been delaying for months? What are you not executing on? What systems keep depending on you that aren't high leverage? What can somebody else do, or you set up some system that'll take it off your hands if it's so necessary, so that you can work on building the business and get back into that builder mode instead of just reacting to everything? If you were looking to buy a business and you see yours and you see it selling for a discount because there's all these problems, what would you change to make it better? What makes it a good buy? Where would you add value to the business? How would you raise the revenue? How would you make it more in line with the lifestyle you're trying to live, with what you're trying to make it become in the next 5, 10 years? What would make you excited to build again? What is it that you love doing in the business? What got you into the business in the first place? And how do you get back to doing that at a higher level, making more money, having more options in the business? The goal is not to escape your business. The goal is to build a better version of it that serves you, the owner, the customers better, and creates the life that you had originally built it to create. Obviously, the business is working now, so you're in a better position than you've ever been to build. You have a foundation now. When you first started, you were at one of the hardest parts. You were building from nothing. You were creating blueprints that didn't exist. You were making a roadmap that never existed. You had nothing to follow. You were forging the path. And you think you should stop just because it's working a little bit now? No, that's the point, to push even harder. It's not the time to bail. I'm going to make more videos that expand upon this because this is my entire thought process behind all of these clients that I talk to and advise. The business is more than just a business. It's a vehicle that you created to make a lifestyle that you wanted to achieve possible. And now that it's working, you should go double down on it. Get help, get an outside perspective. DM me on Instagram. Let's get back to building. Let's build better businesses, better lives, better futures for all of us. Thank you for watching. Best of luck with all your endeavors. Like, subscribe, comment, all that. Peace.